What is up, guys? This is AP5 coming at you with my HBL Season 1 Week 4 matchup where the LA Absols are taking on GalacticEmpire and his Miami Manectrics. Galactic is another coach returning from the NPDA. I don't know if we've ever actually played or not, but I know he's been around for a while. He's had an interesting season so far. He started out with the first 6-0 in HBL history, and he has proceeded to, I think, be 6-0'd and then lose like a 1-0 at this point. I think that's how his first 3 weeks went. He's stuck in the toughest of the 4 divisions. I think everybody agrees on that. And he's gone up against 2 very good coaches, so, here's to hoping for him, that everything starts looking up through the rest of the season. Nonetheless, he's not an opponent to take lightly, and his team is threatening. Victini's scary, Rotom Wash is amazing, the Galvantula and Gligar can be problematic, Amogus can be hard to deal with sometimes, there's Haxorus there, Cabaraja, all that. Yeah, but of course the Galarian Darm is the big problem, that thing is just insane. The ability to run Scarfed and Bandit at the same time. It's a real problem. And I'm seeing right now that I haven't updated my roster here, but it's time to talk about something real quick. So at the end of week 3, I approached one of the coaches, Gurn, with a proposition. You see, Gurn had Mega Lopunny, and for anyone who knows me, they would know that while Mega Absol is my favorite Pokemon of all time, when it comes to Draft League, my holy trinity are Scizor, Latias, and Mega Lopunny. Mega Lopunny I once went 22-3 with in a season. One of the greatest seasons I've ever played, by the way. And all time, of all of the Pokemon I've used in my, I think, 3 or 4 year Draft League career at this point, Megalop has the most kills and the best stats by an absolutely insane margin. I believe at the time that this trade was made, Megalop had 66 kills and 16 deaths. So that's a differential of plus 50. I think it had around a 70%, or 70% win percentage or something along those lines. Nonetheless, I approached Gurn. I said, "Hey Gurn, would you be willing to trade my Mega Gallade for your Mega Lopunny? They're both 18 points. They're both fighting types. Mega Gallade probably fits better on my team, but I'm not really great at using it, if that makes sense." Gurn thought about it for a little while. We talked it out a little bit, and he came back and he said, "Hey, yeah, I'm down to trade." So, before we started, I traded Mega Gallade for Megalop. I don't regret that, and I look forward to having it on my squad for the rest of the season. Honestly, looking at my roster, Mega Gallade probably fits a bit better in terms of it can take a few more hits. It has a little bit better coverage, I think, and it hits a little bit harder. Plus, the psychic type syncing with Lele's Psychic Surge is also really cool. But there's just something about having Lop that makes me really confident. I don't know what it is. I know it's not the greatest bait in the world, but I'm good at using it, Nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a look at the team I brought. So, keeping in mind that on Galactic's team, he's got the Webs, he's got the Darm, he's got the Victini. I knew he'd be prepping for Lele. That was the one thing I could guarantee. And to me, that meant at least one of Victini and Darm would be Scarfed, if not both. Now, if both of them are Scarfed, and they have the correct coverage, so ice, ground, recreate, and possibly fighting. If they have the correct coverage, Volt Strike on Victini as well, then there's very little that I can do to counter either of them straight up. Because those are two very scary mons. And if they're both scarfed, there's very little that I can do outside of maybe Scarfed Chomp would have probably been the only way to straight up beat them at their own game. But I knew he would be prepping for Lele. So it was very likely Victini was going to be scarfed, along with both of, I think, yeah, both of them would have outsped Lop. So, like I said, I figured at least one of them would have to be scarfed. Honestly, I thought he'd bring double scarf, and I don't think he did. I don't remember. But nonetheless, my whole game plan to deal with the Victini and Darm was more or less wrapped up in these four right here. Garchomp, Ruskin, Yachi Berry to help it live at least one Glaciate, get an Earthquake off. I don't think this Earthquake killed, but it put Victini into quick attack range. My MO was to get Stealth Rocks up turn 1. I really wanted Rocks because of the Darm and its the Darm's tendency to click U-turn, just due to how much damage it does. So I wanted to get those Rocks up early. Other than that, like I said, Chomp was just kind of there to live the final game for Victini. That's one. Outspeed the Haxorus to at least get off some damage or break the sub. And get the Rocks easier for Chip. Along with him was Etran, who, again, I just the typing combinations that I have, even my defensive mons can't really stand up to a Darm and TD. So again, Etran's coming to neutralize the V-Create, to switch in for Chomp if I think Darm's clicking Icicle Crash, to taunt the Mega Autono. Mega Autono does nothing to this at all, so this was my answer to Mega Autono 100% of the time. But Etran's coming along, and my goal was just kind of to flip between these three and Thundy, the two big boys were in. But Vappy's here, fully defensive. The only thing on my team that realistically live a encounter with Darm. Wish Toxic, Protect Skull. I think I've run the same set every week, and it doesn't get old. And then I brought Heavy Duty Boots, knockoff, U-turn, defog, T-Wave, Thundy, because I didn't want him getting webs up, and I needed something that could at least get rid of the webs, because if the webs go up, then I think I just lose. Especially with the team he ended up bringing, now that I remember it, yeah. But Thundy was there to be annoying. Prankster's fun. Get the T-Wave off on the Darm or the Victini, or just knock him off. Bulky Thunderous, kind of fun. So that leaves me with the final two. I brought Focus Sash, counter Weavile's back. Again, just an insurance policy against the Darm. If nothing else is going right, there's no rocks up. At the very least, I can at least counter it, assuming it stays in. If it doesn't stay in and clicks U-turn or something, then something's taking a lot of damage. And then I brought Lop. Now I know a lot of people probably question my choice of getting Meta Lop when I have the Psychic Terrain, because one of Lop's greatest strengths is hands down the Fake Out. But I don't know. I'm not super dependent on Fake Out. I know how to play Lop without it. And I'm not saying that because I have Quick Attack on it. That was more of a meme, because I figured, if I can get a Power Punch or two off, things might be fun. Just sit there and Quick Attack if everything's chipped down enough from Chomp. Yeah, I gave up on outspeeding anything outside of the Galvantula and everything below that. His speed tiers are whack. Yeah, Adamant Lock can do some damage. But yeah, that's the team. Let me get rid of this. And we'll go ahead and jump into the match. So right off the bat, the lack of Rotom Wash and the lack of Haxorus makes me very happy. I have no idea what this thing is. Caparaja. I was very confused at the start of the game. But you see both the Darm and the Petite are there, the Autonos there, the Webs are there, the Gligar's there. So I figured I would see Darm, TD, or Galvantula as the lead. I went Chomp just to get my rocks up, like I said, turn 1. He goes in with the Gligar straight off the bat, and this is where I wavered a little bit. I should have just clicked rocks like I said I would. If I click rocks, then these 3 turns don't exist, but I switch out to Lop, thinking he's going to click rocks, and he clicks U-turn, so there I go. Lop's already taking some damage. I'm an idiot. He brings in the Audino. I go straight to E-Tran because there's nothing it can do to me. I read him switching out, go back to Garchomp. Here we are. 3 turns have been wasted. That's great. We both get rocks up. Whoa. It gets more interesting after this, I promise. So, Thundy comes in. This was more of a sort of, I wanted to bring it in and see what he was going to do kind of thing. He goes into the Caparaja, and again, I have no idea what this thing is, really. I've looked it up a little bit since the game, but I assume that this was his answer to Lele's existence. Because as you'll see after this knockoff, this is an Assault Vest Caparaja, who does absolutely nothing to my Thundurus. I go straight into Garchomp like the idiot that I am and take a chunk from Playrough. And, don't get a good look at Garchomp because this is the last time you'll see him in this game. So, I switch out to the Vaporeon. He, for some reason, makes his next play here. He goes up to the Gligar, clicks U-turn, and no, never mind. I see the Audino coming in, I hit Toxic, it's great. I think I click Wish, yes, he goes into the Darm. And this was one of the turns that kind of screwed him over in the long run, I think. Because, first of all, Darm takes a lot of damage there. Secondly, that's banded. He's banded Guerrilla Tactics. So now I know what this Darm is. I know Lop outspeeds. I know that this is not as big a threat as it could be to me. I believe Garchomp outspeeds too. If it's Garchomp would outspeed it with his current investment. He was set to outspeed non-Scar 15, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, so I know Garchomp and Lopunny both outspeed, and Weavile, of course, but he's now at 76%. He's got to come back in on rocks again. That'll take him down near 50. And I know that, again, I've got at least 3 things that outspeed him. I think Thundy probably does too. Nonetheless, he brings in the Caparaja, and I click Scald. The Wish comes down, Vappy's at full health, and is able to pick up its first kill of the season on this Caparaja. I love Vaporeon. He brings in Galvantula, and here's where I do a classic AP5 Smooth Brain moment. I look at the calcs, and this thing can't kill me. Thunder's doing 70 at max, so I'm like, well, I could read the electric move and go into Chomp, or I could leave my defensive wall in, the only thing that stands up to Darm easily, and I click Scald, which does about 50 to this thing. E-Volt switches, it does 59, and why? I don't know why he switches into Darm. I think he was predicting the Wish. I still don't agree with that play, though. I think Audino's the play there every time. He clearly didn't expect me to stay in. I don't know. That was a turn that I really should not have benefited from like I did. That's a turn where I just clicked X and my opponent made a a questionable decision that ended up benefiting me. But now Darm is at 7%. It is pretty much useless at this point. And remember, it's banded. So I click Protect here. Scout what he's doing. Earthquake comes out. Again, I know he's locked. I just go straight into Thunderous. There's no reason not to. He switches out using or saving the Darm as a sack for later. I went for the knockoff. I think predicting Gligar to come in. I wanted to get rid of that Eviolite. Does a fine 11% to this Autono. I hate Autono. But he goes under the Gligar. I wish I'd clicked Knock again, but U-turn, and I go straight into Lock because this is, as I will say in the chat in a minute here, this is the time, or it is the time. Yeah. See, in my mind, I just click Power Punch and win at this point because Darm is so low. I can one-shot the Galvantula from here. If I get a Power Punch off, I one-shot with Gligar. The only thing I can't just Oko is the Victini. So I get greedy and I go for a second Power Punch on this Darmit. This, what's it called? Gligar. And Galactic makes the right play. He clicks U-turn and goes out into Victini, which is a thick little thing. Now, I expected V-Create or Zen Headbutt, or Psychic or something along those lines. Remember, I knew that one of the two of these had to be scarfed from prep. And since Darm wasn't scarfed, this had to be scarfed. There's no way that it wasn't. So I did the calcs, and any of those moves I mentioned a moment ago, one-shot Lock. And I didn't really want to let Lock go down this early in the game. I'm also trying to dig her out of some unfortunate stats that she got with her previous team, so trying to keep her away from the deaths, but I just make the, what I figured was the safe switch, and I go into Heatran. And this son of a gun clicks Brick Break. This angers me on several levels here. First of all, poor Heatran has to take more damage than it needs to. I was fully expecting a, like I said, Psychic move or V-Create to come out right there. Or heck, even Final Gambit. But, no, Brick Break. The worst part is that Lock lived a Brick Break pretty easily. And Quick Attack 2-shot. I don't know how much a +2 Drain Punch would have done to Mega Autonos, so I mean, in the end, it might not have been, it might not have mattered at all. But still, getting rid of Victini right there would have been phenomenal. Either way, Heatran takes a chunk. He switches out into Darm to sack it, and I make the play into the Boreon to get it back in. I think he brings in the Galvantula, right? And right here, again, I don't know if my opponent just went on tilt at this point. I don't know if he misclicked, but instead of, I mean, I pretty much just offered Vaporeon up as fodder at this point. I wanted to say switch into Lopper Weavile here because I wanted to get Victini worn down so Lop could kill it. But he clicks Bug Buzz, which doesn't make a lick of sense to me, honestly. And Vaporeon is able to pick up its second kill of the week. It is putting in the finest of work here. So he brings the Victini back in. And at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I can see a 6-0 in my future. I've got one of those in my career. Gonna not let Vappy die here. I click Protect to see what he's locking himself into. He clicks Brick Break. So, after that, I switch. Vaporeon lived a Brick Break. I think it did like 11%. So he switches out to Gligar, and I go for the Wish. Make the play into Lopunny here. As he clicks U-turn, goes out into Victini. And I think that Quick Attack still doesn't kill from this range. However, at this range, I live most attacks from it. I think. Because if you remember, well, okay, good, now you're going to see my teams, but this Lock only has a lot of HP investment, since it doesn't have very much speed invested. So I decide that, hey, this is the turn. I'm going to click Power Punch again. And I learned just how bulky Lopunny can be because it tanks AV Create. I never thought I'd see that in my life. Get the Power Punch boost. It doesn't matter because he's down. Quick attack because he still would have outsped me after that. And Victini goes down. You can see Pesky's visible confusion here, but he goes into the auto note, and I die to him. Dazzling Gleam. There's nothing I can do against this thing. He makes the right switch into Gligar. I think I go into Thundy because at this point he's revealed all his moves. He can't touch Thundy. So I just click Defog, get the rocks out the way, so Lot can come back in. It's just kind of a couple of turns of us switching back and forth here, trying to maneuver into the best possible positions. Yeah. Either way, like I said, I think that my opponent put so much prep into dealing with Lele that he may have just kind of screwed himself over in prep. I don't know. I don't really. The most questionable play of the game was him bringing that Darmanitan in on Vaporeon. He, I think, auto knows the play 100% of the time there. Nonetheless, Bob's gonna come in here, click Ice Punch, Gligar drops. 2 kills for Lob, happy to see that. Then it's just Heatran. There's absolutely nothing that auto note can do to it, so my opponent just concedes there. Train gets the kill because I think it was a 2-hit KO from Flash Cannon at that point. Yeah. I think in the end I would have won regardless, but the 6-0 comes from my opponent not taking proper care of his, what was honestly the most threatening one in the entire match, that Darm. However, I don't think Bandit Darm was the play here. Also, Rotom Blush or Haxorus would have given me a hell of a lot of trouble. Probably Mungus as well. Mungus would have forced me to bring Heatran in, or probably would have forced Weavile in at least once. I don't know. I'm not going to complain about it. 6-0 is nice. The most interesting fact about this entire game, though, I was looking at the stats afterward. The Pokemon that did the most damage on either team was Garchomp. Who literally didn't, you saw him. I said, he went out at turn 7, he's not going to come back in. He did not come back in. he clicked Stealth Rocks and he left. Somehow did the most damage, picked up a kill. Anyways, guys, that is going to be all from me. I think this is probably one of the longer videos I've put up at this point, but this is one of the better games I think that I've played so far. I didn't completely just try to throw at any point during this one. Hopefully I'm getting my mojo back because I've got a couple really tough games coming up in the next couple weeks, so make sure you guys tune in to see those. But yeah, I will be back in about a week or so, and I'll see y'all then.